Faith Time is our weekly conversation on matters of faith, and joining us this morning is Chaplain Marvin Allison with Kindred Hospice. Thank you for joining us this morning, sir.
Good morning, Chad.
We wanted to talk about hospice care and end-of-life issues for people that are in that. So how do you as a chaplain, first of all, comfort people who are in hospice care?
The best way that I've found out to bring comfort to those in hospice care is to be a listening ear. I find that when people come to the sunset of their life's journey, they want people to know their story. And they want to talk about their lives, or family members want to talk about their lives as the patient is not able. And so what I do is I become a listening ear, give active, compassionate listening. I zoom in to key parts of their life, key points, and then I celebrate their life history with them and uplift and just validate the love that they have for the family has for them, and that brings as much comfort as possible.
So what do you think are some of the spiritual end-of-life issues that people deal with?
You know, I found that no matter what your spiritual background is, everyone still has the same concern. What is the afterlife? Is there an afterlife? How can I be part of the afterlife? What does the afterlife look like? Where do I stand? If I believe in God, am I forgiven? Am I going to make it to the kingdom? Those are the type of ideas that people want to know, and you just have to touch on them and try to bring people into an awareness of where they stand with God.
You bring up an interesting point. When somebody asks you about the afterlife and where they think they stand, how do you respond to those questions?
I respond. The one thing that chaplains do, we don't proselytize. We don't emphasize our own faith. We try to build up their own faith beliefs of the patient. And so I would explore what they feel their faith belief is, but I always assure someone, especially if they are a Christian, that we all believe in the resurrection, and that when Jesus comes again, there will be a resurrection of the dead, and we just want to be part of that resurrection.
Now, often people in hospice care have family members there with them. How do you minister or approach families that are also dealing with hospice care?
And that's a very interesting dynamic, because some people feel that hospice is where you take your family to throw them away, to get rid of them. And they kind of resent the chaplain or the social worker when they come in. But so when I come in, the first thing I do is just make myself friendly. I be me. I make myself known who I am. I get to know them. We get to know each other as a one-on-one basis, because when you're starting to deal with individuals' personal lives and their issues and the things they're going through, no one wants to just open up their heart to a stranger. So I make myself comfortable, and I make them comfortable with me before we go into any other issues at all.
When you approach a hospice patient and they want to talk about spiritual issues, how does somebody get their spiritual house in order, so to speak, before the end of life?
You know, in 2 Kings, there's a story about King Hezekiah. And King Hezekiah was told by the prophet Isaiah that he was going to die and to get his house in order. And Hezekiah, as he did that, he reflected upon his life. And that's one thing that I help people do, reflect upon their lives and the issues that pertain to them. And then Hezekiah prayed. And his prayer was, Lord, I have lived the life you wanted me to live. I say to others, if that's what your prayer is, then you can say that to the Lord, and you can have peace and comfort. But if you're not there, then be like King David and pray the prayer, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me into way everlasting. And God will always answer that prayer.
Excellent things to think about this morning. Chaplain Marvin Allison with Kindred Hospice, thank you for joining us for this edition of Faith Time. And News 5 this morning will continue after the break.